Hello, people of the interwebs. My name is Xander, and I am 1 month on T. And I am 3 months on testosterone. And I am 4 months on testosterone. It's Xander Foster, and I am 5 months on testosterone. Hey guys, it's me, Xander, and I am 8 months on testosterone. Hey guys, it's me, Xander Foster, and I am 1 year on testosterone. Hey guys, my name is Xander Foster, and today is a very exciting day. It marks my 2-year anniversary of starting hormone replacement therapy, of getting on testosterone. So I just wanted to make a video for you guys today and give you guys an update on how that's going, how the past year has gone, the changes that have continued, the changes that have sort of stopped, and the new things that I've been experiencing the past year. So before we get into the dirty details, I wanted to share with you guys why I keep you updated on my transition and why I feel like it's my place to share my story. I get a lot of people that ask me why I'm so public with my transition, why I'm so open with my transition, and why I don't just sort of transition quietly. So the reason I feel the need to share my journey so publicly is because of where my journey began. Back in 2010, 2011, when I was coming out and starting my transition, there weren't trans people on magazine covers and on talk shows and on the radio. There wasn't any representation of us in movies and in television. And when there was the limited representation, it was highlighting problems that trans people experience. It wasn't highlighting great lives. And so coming out, the only comfort, the only solace that I got, and the only connection I had to any trans person was online. It was watching YouTube videos, it was watching testosterone updates, it was watching trans guys get their hair cut short for the first time, and that really showed, baby Xander being 7th grade Xander, that at some point, there was hope for me to live authentically. There was hope for me to transition, to be who I was. And so now that I've gotten this far, and come to be who I was meant to be from the place of utter distress and depression. The fact that I've come this far from that place has proven to me that anyone, whether they're trans or not, can get to the place where they can live authentically. Because where I was when I came out, I was the same person as I am today. But it took so much courage and strength and support to become outwardly who I knew I was on the inside. So I hope that these videos educate allies. I hope that they reach trans people that are on a similar path that I am, and I also hope that they reach people that aren't on a similar path that I am. I hope that it reaches people that are at any step in their transition, and I hope that at some point one of my videos can help someone who is searching for a connection. So now that we got that little sappy sap out of the way, it's time to get into the dirty deets. One of the first things that I noticed that started changing when I started testosterone was my voice. It dropped pretty quickly. It didn't get very deep, but it changed pretty quickly after starting hormones. And that was very exciting, and the whole first year was filled with a lot of dissonance between my brain and my voice, and sort of like my whole life, right, has been a lot of dissonance of my voice and my brain. Especially the first year of testosterone, there was a lot of like me talking and my brain being like, who is talking? My voice cracked a lot. I mean, easily every hour. My voice would crack. I struggled a lot to raise my voice. I struggled a lot to sing. I struggled a lot to change pitch just while talking. And
the last year I really haven't experienced any of that. The last year it's been pretty consistent, and it has deepened a lot. I have noticed that it's deepened a lot, but it's been more of a steady descent than a drop. My voice doesn't really crack anymore, at least not nearly as much as it did, and there's not a lot of struggling to change pitch in speech. I definitely do not have the strength behind my singing voice as I did before I started hormones, but it's been really hard to keep up with practicing singing because my voice isn't as strong as it was. Before testosterone, I could sing all day and my voice wouldn't get tired. But now I could probably sing for an hour and I'd lose my voice just because it's not as strong as it was. One of the changes that came right off the bat after starting testosterone was hair. I got a lot more hair on my legs. It was a lot thicker. I got hair on my arms, which was new. I got hair on my hands. I got a little hair on my sideburns, right below my sideburns. Got hair on my belly. Got little hairs on my chest. But the last year, it is just extrapolated. I'm getting hair on my chin. I got hair above my lip, especially around the sides here. The hair on the sides of my face is coming all the way down to my jawline. There's a lot more hair on my stomach. I'm getting more chest hair, especially around my scars from top surgery. And my legs are a forest. I'm definitely a lot hairier than I was even a year ago, and the biggest part of that change that affects me on a weekly basis is my face, because if I don't shave once or twice a week, it gets kind of out of hand. And it's not that I have a beard or a mustache, it's just that I got that pubescent facial hair going on. So it's fun and it's exciting, but it's kind of a menace. So, great problem to have as a trans guy, having to shave. I think in the past year my fat redistribution has sped up, sort of the opposite of what happened with my voice. So the first year, my fat redistribution, I noticed it definitely because it had never happened before, but the second year, I noticed it on a month-to-month basis. And so now, the past year, my shoulders have gotten a lot broader, my face has thinned out here, my shoulder muscles up here have gotten bigger, I have no fat on my arms or my legs, my torso is a lot leaner. One thing that did change is I missed almost 2 doses of testosterone about a month ago, and I started my cycle again. And let me just tell you, it was not a great time. I was not emotionally or physically prepared for that, and it lasted so many days. Yeah, that was not exciting. But I'm back. My dose is back to where it should be, and everything's back to where it should be, so that's good. This is the part in the video when I start talking about sex and intimacy and all things sex drive. So if you're my mom or my grandma or some kid I went to school with and you don't want to hear about this stuff, I suggest you just click subscribe, leave. I'll see you in the next video. The first year of being on hormone replacement therapy dramatically changed my sex drive. And it didn't just change my desire to have sex, it changed everything. It changed the way that I interacted with people. It changed the way that I responded to being touched. It changed the way that I viewed women, and that completely freaked me out. And so the second year, although my sex drive didn't really change that much at all from the first year, I've spent the last 6 to 8 months looking introspectively to try to figure out what's going on. By far, the hardest change to process and to deal with was the change in sex drive, because I was socialized female, and although I will never understand what it's like to be a woman and be seen as a woman and be treated as a woman in today's society, I was socialized female, and I felt some of the effects of being seen as, this young girl, and I knew what it felt like to be singled out because you were a girl, or to be disrespected because you were female in a circle of men. Viewed women pre-testosterone was something really close to my heart, and the fact that I respected women in every capacity that I was able to, the fact that I listened to women, and the fact that I saw them as complete people just as much as men, was very important to me. Testosterone has rewired my brain almost to change its default setting when interacting with women. So instead of approaching women with compassion and empathy and an open mind, by default, I now approach women at times as if they're objects first. And I'm trying really hard not to sound like an asshole, but at times I think that I'm kind of an asshole. I'll tell you why. Before starting testosterone, when I saw an attractive woman, I would see her as a woman who has the characteristic of being attractive. And now, most often when I see an attractive woman, I see an attractive woman. And so it's sort of like I see her first as her attractiveness instead of seeing her first as a person. And it's not at a conscious level. It's not that I go around thinking and saying that women deserve to be objectified, or that men are greater than women, or women are objects. It's that my default setting sees the physicality of a woman before the emotional and spiritual side. And that has been so uncomfortable and so dissonant with my core beliefs and core values that it's been so hard to deal with the past year. Testosterone changing my default from seeing a woman who's attractive to seeing attractiveness as an object challenged this core belief and core value that I held of women and men being equal, and women being spiritual, emotional beings first, and having compassion and empathy and love and open-mindedness for women. And so I think at some level I had processed, if that identity that I'm holding is being challenged, then maybe testosterone isn't the right path for me, because if I'm turning into someone who objectifies women and that's not who I want to be, then maybe I don't want to be on testosterone. And I was not having any of that, because every other box that I was checking about who I wanted to be was being checked because of testosterone. And so I knew that I was not willing to give up everything that I had worked so hard for just to have things be easier in relation to my sex drive. But I still was not strong enough to process and to deal with it. So the past year, my sex drive has definitely been consistent. It hasn't increased the way that it did exponentially in the first year of being on hormones, but processing has become a lot easier. Being able to look within myself and say, these thoughts aren't your identity. Objectifying women isn't who you are as a person, took a lot of patience and a lot of self-love. But the past 6 to 8 months, that's something that I've definitely dealt with. And I'm very grateful for that. Being trans and being on testosterone has given me so much insight into everything under the sun, about how people interact with each other. And I'm so grateful that I'm trans and I had to fight to be here, because if my default from the beginning of puberty, round one, was to objectify women, I don't know if I would have as much compassion and as much open-mindedness as I do now because of being socialized female. And it's been so much harder because I've had to go on testosterone and basically go through puberty again. But I'm very grateful for it, because I feel like I've sort of seen two sides of society. And there's definitely more than two sides to be seen, but it's interesting, and it's a blessing. Looking back on how far I've come is a very emotional thing for me. I have worked so hard, and the support in my life, the people who are my biggest support have worked hard with me. I sort of feel like by me transitioning, my family and friends have transitioned with me. And even the people that have come into my life the past couple years are joining me on this journey and transitioning with me. I'm so grateful for everyone in my life who has supported me. And I really don't think that I could have gotten here as safely and as quickly and as comfortably as I did without every single person that has supported me along this journey. So I've been on testosterone for 2 years now. I had top surgery a year and a half ago, and everything ahead of me transition-wise just looks beautiful. I've been thinking a lot about my medical transition and what's next for me there. I don't have any answers as to, what steps I want to take, but I will keep you guys updated on that front. I plan to continue testosterone. I don't have an end in mind as to when I would ever stop testosterone, so that's indefinite. I hope that I continue to work on myself and look introspectively on some of these deep changes that are happening, more than just my voice changing, my Adam's apple coming in, hair growing. There are things that are changing how I interact with people and how I express who I am, and those are the changes that I hope that I can process in the next year to come and the years following. So I'm very excited to keep you guys updated on my transition and to keep you updated on my life. I hope that this video was a help to someone. I hope that you enjoyed it, and I hope that you'll be back. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you want to see the rest of my transition updates, I'll leave the link in the description. And if you want to see more videos from me in the future, then subscribe. Peace.